Well, GraXpert's at it again. Their last release that they gave us introduced AI for their background extraction. And this release now does denoising again with an AI model, and it does a really great job at doing so. Before we get started, I just want to mention that for best results, you should run this against a linear image. It will work if it's already stretched, but again, best results, linear image. My name is Rich, and you're watching Deep Space Astro. Okay, before we download and install the new version of GraXpert, I just want to mention that it's probably a good idea to uninstall. If you're running I'm running on Windows, so if you're running on Windows as well, I notice it doesn't necessarily do a complete clean uninstall of the old version. So just to be safe, I recommend uninstalling GraXpert first from your add remove programs. So in Windows, you can just start typing add, come up to add remove programs, and then find GraXpert in the list of apps that you have installed. Come over to ellipses and uninstall the old version first. At that point, then come over, and again, I'm on Windows, so I would select Windows, but if you're Mac OS or Linux, you have your three options here for that. Installation is straightforward. Next. I'm not going to bore you with that. Once installed, you will have a new icon in your Windows menu, GraXpert 3.0. Just going to run it. And the first thing you'll notice if you've been using GraXpert is, as simple as the interface was before, they've simplified it even more for us, as well as added a couple other features. Before we get started, I'm going to recommend that you come over here to your Advanced tab, and under Background Extraction and Denoising, select the latest AI model available for each of these. If you don't and you try to run the background extraction or the denoising, it'll yell at you and tell you that you need to come over here and do this. So just get it set first, hit your Advanced tab again to close it. And like I said, the interface has been simplified even more. We've got 5 steps to go through, the first one being load the image. So we'll click the load image button, and I just finished up my sunflower galaxy, so we'll run over M63. There's my final stack. Currently there's no stretch applied to it, so we have 4 different options to stretch it by 10, 15, 20, or 30%. I'd recommend starting out with 30, only because that'll tend to show you your artifacts around the edges of your image. This one is pretty clean, but just to go through the process, that would be our next step. So we're going to hit the plus button next to step number 2 for crop, and you'll see the yellow box comes around, and just make your adjustments to set your crop on either one of the corners. When you're happy with the positioning, just click the apply crop button. Step 3, background extraction. So again, hit the blue plus button. It's going to default you to the RBF, which is the same interpolation method within Siril. For those of you that don't know, the background extraction within Siril is in fact GraXpert. Siril's version does not have the AI, but it does have the RBF. We're going to use the artificial intelligence, so I'm going to click the little down arrow here and select AI. You have one option, which is your smoothing, so you can bump this over a little bit, just play with it, see what gives you your best results. 0.5 usually works well for me. Before we calculate the background, I am going to decrease my stretch amount from 30% to 15%, just to tame this down a little bit more. And then I'm going to click calculate background. You will get this message because I've redone the modeling for the AI, instructing you that it needs to be downloaded before it can be ran. So just click yes. That'll take a few minutes. It's a pretty decent sized file, but once it's done, it'll immediately run the background extraction for you. Okay, the AI model's been downloaded and background extraction has been completed. Just as always, they've renamed the tags up top, but they serve the same purpose. So right now we're looking at the gradient corrected image. If we wanted to look at the actual background that it removed, we can select background, and you can see the gradients that it's removed. And then obviously original is before the gradient was removed at all. So we're going to jump back over to our gradient corrected, and now we're going to go to step number 4, which is denoising. Again, hit the blue plus button next to denoising. Again, with the AI, there's only one option. That's nature of the beast with this artificial intelligence, right? It's doing all the heavy lifting and the work for us. So you have a denoise strength, so anywhere between 0 up to 1.0. Default is 0.5. We'll put it back on 0.5. We'll start there, and then just click denoise image. Just like when we ran the background extraction, it's telling you it has to download the AI model for the denoising function. So click yes and wait for that to download as well. And once it's finished, it'll denoise the image for us. All right, the AI model has been downloaded and it is now currently denoising for us. I don't know how well that translates on YouTube, but it did a really nice job on that. I'm going to run it one more time. But this time I am going to take the strength all the way up just to play with it, just to see what we get. I see a little bit of noise in there. And there we go. That time it was really fast too. It's really smoothed that all out. This did a really nice job. I think I'm at least going to start using this to see how it goes with other sets of data. If it works as well as we just saw today, I'm going to make this part of my workflow. because I really like that. That was pretty painless too. So one thing to note about the denoising, and I'll leave this link in the description as well. If you go over to their GitHub page where you can see the release notes and the new features they mention right here, there is GPU acceleration for the denoising function. On Windows, it's DirectML, which requires DirectX 12 compatible graphics card, and on Linux, it's CUDA 12, and on Mac, they rely on the Core ML. So if you have supported graphics cards for this stuff, then it'll use the GPU to process it, which will make it a lot faster than without. Some of the other things I just wanted to point out, down on the bottom here, we have our saturation slider, right? So I can actually add more color into the image. The channels linked option down here, right now we're stretching without the channels being linked. If we were to tick that on, then it'll link the channels while it does the stretch. And this is the same thing if we're over in Siril, when we do our auto stretch down here on the bottom, and we have a little link icon to the right, link and unlink, it's the same thing. I'm gonna uncheck that for now. So that's it. We're through our first 4 steps. Now we just want to save, and we have options for that as well. So click your blue plus button next to the saving option. You can save it as a TIFF, FIT, or XISF, 16 or 32-bit for each of those formats. You can either save the processed, which is the tab that we're on now, denoise. This is the processed image with the background extraction and the denoising done. You can save the background image, which again is this one right here, if you had a need for that. Or you can also say save, stretched, and processed. So this image is still linear, but this 15% stretch that we applied, we can actually save this image as we see it on the screen. Under normal circumstances, that's not what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to do a lot more processing within Siril or PixInsight. So I'm just going to save the processed image as a 32-bit fit because I'm going back into Siril. It'll take the original file name and just append GraXpert to the end of it. Say yes. And then at this point, I can go into Siril and open up that image that we just processed with GraXpert and go through my post-processing. So just a great little utility. I'm going to start using this in my workflow. Previous to this new version being dropped yesterday, I was using Topaz Denoise post-processing. So at the very end of everything, or close to it, is when I was running it through the Topaz Denoise software. I'm going to forgo doing that now. I'm going to start using this utility. I expect really good results like we saw today. And I think it's right up there with NoiseXterminator, right? NoiseXterminator may be a little bit more powerful or more options that you can tweak within it. But again, you know, if you don't have it or you don't want to purchase it, this is a free option. It does a fantastic job. So as always, thanks everybody for watching. I want to thank all my members over on buymeacoffee.com as well as here on YouTube. Your support is very appreciated. Once again, thanks everybody for watching. Give the video a like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Until next time, I'll see you on the next video, and clear skies.